أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With Allah's grace and the praise of our Holiness, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at Sri Lanka has organized a peace symposium today, 3rd November, at Taj Samudra Hotel in Colombo, which will start, inshallah, at 5 o'clock in the evening. To conduct a peace symposium worldwide was in fact inspired from the speeches on peace delivered recently by our Huzur Ayatullahi Ta'ala bin Aziz to various heads of state, historic address at Capitol Hill in the United States of America. Huzur Ayatullahi Ta'ala bin Aziz has emphasized that true peace can be achieved through inculcating virtuous qualities of love, compassion, tolerance, respect, freedom, etc. To grace this event, our Holiness has sent Dr. Iftikhar Ahmad Ayaz Sahib to Sri Lanka, and he has actually guided us in numerous ways and with very success, inshallah.
Reverend Father Manjula Priyantha, representing Christianity, was welcomed by our center representative. Reverend Brahmacharya Darshana Chaitanya, representing Hinduism. Buddhism was represented by Venerable Galagama Dhammaran Sitero. The chairperson is Excellency, the Ambassador of Palestine. Member of Municipal Council Norelia, Mr. Raja Ram. His Excellency, Ambassador of European Union, was welcomed. His Excellency, the Ambassador of Iran, Professor Shanika Hirimburegama, was warmly welcomed.
From the headquarters, national headquarters, will now read the message of our Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad Khalifathul Masih, the successor of the Masih, promised Messiah.
Your Excellency, the Chairperson, and distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I have been accorded this very special privilege of reading out to you a message that we have received for this function from the head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, who at present resides in London, UK. The message begins, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God Almighty, the most gracious, ever merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah, God Almighty, and the blessings of God Almighty. I'm really pleased to know that Sri Lanka Jama'at community is holding its first National Peace Symposium on November 3rd, 2012. I've also learned that several dignitaries are participating in this event. I'm when I see that, irrespective of differences of religion or nationality, for the sake of upholding human, so many people gather to listen, to learn, and to speak about ways to establish peace and compassion in the world. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is purely a religious community. It is our firm belief that the Messiah and Reformer who was destined to appear in this age and enlighten the world as to Islam's true teachings, has indeed arrived. We believe that the founder of our community, Hazrat Mirza Ahmad of Qadian, was that very promised Messiah and reformer, and thus we have accepted him. He pressed upon his followers to act and propagate the real and true teachings of Islam that are based on the Holy Quran. Therefore, everything that I will say in relation to establishing peace and in relation to conducting just international relations will be based on Quranic teachings. As far as the Ahmadiyya community is concerned, wherever and whenever the opportunity arises, we openly express and declare our view that there is only one way to save and devastation that it is heading towards, and that is that we must all endeavor to spread love, affection, and a sense of community. Most importantly, the world must come to recognize its Creator, who is the one God. This is because it is the recognition of the Creator that leads us towards love and compassion for His creation. And when this becomes part of our character, it is then that we become recipients of God's love. Remember that we have tremendous responsibilities, and we should set an example for coming generations. We should endeavor to maintain high standards of goodness, honesty, integrity, and absolute justice. In this regard, I feel it appropriate to mention presented by the Holy Quran and the holy founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be on him. In the Holy Quran, God Almighty has made it clear that whilst our nationalities or ethnic backgrounds act as means of identity, they do not entitle or validate any form of superiority of any kind. It is clear teaching of Islam that the people of all nationalities and all races are equal. And it is also made clear that all people should be granted equal rights without any discrimination or prejudice. This is the key principle that lays the foundation for harmony between different groups and nations and for the establishment of peace. The Holy Quran in chapter 4 verse 136 has further given us a golden principle and lesson guiding us about justice. It states that as a means to fulfill the requirements of justice, even if you bear witness and testify against yourself, your parents, or your closest relatives and friends, then you must do so. This is true justice, where personal interests are set aside for the common good. The truth is that peace and justice are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. Thus, for peace in the world to be established, it is essential that proper standards of justice are developed and in every country of the world. The Holy Quran has deemed the killing of one innocent person without reason akin to killing all of mankind. As a Muslim, I shall make it absolutely clear that Islam does not permit cruelty or oppression in any way, shape, or form. This is an injunction that is absolute and without exception. The Quran further states that even if any country or people hold enmity towards you, that it must not stop you from acting in a fully just and fair manner when dealing with them. It should not be that any enmities or rivalries lead you to taking revenge or acting disproportionately. There is little doubt that restlessness and anxiety is increasing in the world, and so disorder is spreading. This clearly proves that somewhere along the line, the requirements of justice are not being fulfilled. We must remember that when human efforts fail, then God Almighty issues His decree to determine the fate of mankind. Before God's decree sets into motion and compels people towards Him and towards fulfilling the rights of mankind, it would be far better if the people of the world come to pay attention to these crucial matters, because when God Almighty is forced to take action, then His wrath seizes mankind in a truly severe and terrifying manner. In today's world, one terrifying manifestation of God's decree could be in the shape of another world war. There is no doubt that the effects of such a war and its destruction will not be limited to the war itself or even to this generation. In fact, its horrific consequences will be exhibited for many generations to come. Just one tragic consequence of such a war will be the effect it will have on newborn children, both now and in the future. The weapons available today are so destructive that they could lead to generation after generation of children being born with severe genetic or physical defects. Thus, if we desire for peace to be established in the world, then we must leave aside our personal and national interests for the greater good, and instead we must establish mutual relations that are based entirely on justice. Therefore, it is my ardent wish and hope that the leaders of all major nations come to understand these beautiful Islamic teachings, and so aggressive policies and utilizing force to achieve their aims and objectives, they strive to adopt policies that promote peace and secure justice. We must constantly raise our voice calling for peace in the world, and it is the pain and anguish we feel in our hearts that inspires us to try and alleviate the suffering of mankind and to make the world we live in a better place. I would request all of you to strive for peace to the best of your abilities, so that we can keep the flicker of hope alight, that a time will come when true peace and justice will be established in all parts of the world, Allah willing, inshallah. Sincerely yours, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Khalifathul MasihV, that is the head of the International Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. And thank you for listening.
The National President of the